Ever since his appearance in the premiere of Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings of Power, Theo, Tyro Mahaffedin, has been a topic of heated debate, with many fans wondering why a character not appearing in Tolkien's lore would play such a seemingly important role in the series. Throughout his story arc, different theories about Theo's future have appeared, with the credibility of many deteriorating as his character slowly evolved throughout the show's progression. After Theo discovered the mysterious sword hilt linked to the Dark Lord, Charlie Vickers, fans speculated that he had an important connection to Sauron. Throughout his journey, fans have conjectured that this link to Sauron foretells Theo becoming a Nazgûl, possibly the Witch King of Angmar, or the Mouth of Sauron. Once Theo interacted with Isildur, Maxim Baldry, fans wondered if he could become the founder of Rohan or even the King of the Dead. After Rings of Power Season 2's ending, one theory stands out: Theo will most likely become the King of the Dead. What the Lord of the Rings reveals about the King of the Dead. He ruled over the men of the mountain and was cursed by Isildur. Many fans will remember the King of the Dead's, Paul Norell, appearance in Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which found Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen, seeking his aid to confront Sauron's, Alan Howard, forces. His brief but influential appearance in The Return of the King raised questions about who Tolkien wrote this character to be. In Tolkien's books, the King of the Dead also appeared predominantly in The Return of the King. Tolkien revealed that the King of the Dead was once a man who ruled over the Men of the Mountain, a pre-Numenorean people who worshipped Sauron during the Second Age. Near the end of the Second Age, the Men of the Mountain swore allegiance to Isildur and Gondor. Isildur then called upon them to fulfill their oath and aid in the fight against Sauron's growing forces. They abandoned Isildur, breaking their word. The Men of the Mountain then came to be known as the Oathbreakers, ruled by the unnamed King of the Dead. Although unofficial sources designated him Riok after they abandoned Isildur, he cursed them, assuring they'd never rest until they fulfilled the vow previously made to him. Cursed, the Oathbreakers became wraiths, haunting the mountain Dwimmerberg. The wraiths were feared by many who resided near the valley of Harrowdale. Isildur's heir, Aragorn, then called on them to complete their oath by aiding him, which they did. After fulfilling their pledge, they departed Middle-earth to rest in peace. Why the Rings of Power's Theo could become Lotr's King of the Dead. Theo's location and introduction hint at a dark future for him. There are several compelling reasons to believe that Theo could become the Lord of the Rings King of the Dead. Theo's village, Tirharad, was home to men who already worshipped Sauron, including Waldreg, Jeff Morrell, whose barn hid the Dark Lord's hilt. After Ardar, Sam Hazeldine, appeared, many of the town's villagers swore fealty to him, some thinking he was Sauron. Tirharad's location in what would become Mordor also strongly tied its former residents with Sauron's domain. Throughout the Rings of Power's first 2 seasons, Theo's character has also fluctuated between being righteous and corrupt. The death of Theo's mother, Bronwyn, Nazanin Boniardi, who frequently reminded him to find the light, created a desire for battle in him. It also disconnected him from his most vital foundation for good. Theo then distanced himself from his closest source of morality, the elven warrior Arondir, Ismael Cruz Cordova. Theo despised the elves who took watch over Tirharad, but he appeared drawn to the wild men, most of whom sided with Ardar. Theo also forged a relationship with Isildur, Maxim Baldry, in the Rings of Power Season 2, potentially teasing a bond and then betrayal between them. The two connected over the loss of their mothers and grappled with what it meant to feel responsible for their deaths. Theo then spent considerable time with Isildur in Pelargia before the two separated. Theo's mysterious lineage also positions him to become a future king. Theo's father has been kept noticeably unnamed in the Rings of Power, which leads many to believe this important detail will be unveiled later. Fans have already speculated that Theo's father could be a member of the Southland's long-lost royal lineage, setting Theo up to wear a crown. In Season 2, Arondir also gave Theo the title Lord of Pelargia, which could prepare him for a greater leadership role. How becoming the King of the Dead would fit Theo's The Rings of Power arc. His inner conflict could cause him to turn on Isildur. Theo's inner conflicts, location, relationships, and not-so-subtle attraction to Sauron's dark power poise him to become the future King of the Dead. The Rings of Power has spent considerable time attempting to create a more complex and sometimes likable villain in Sauron. It's sensible to think that the Lord of the Rings show could do the same thing with the King of the Oathbreakers. By allowing audiences to empathize with Theo, it could create a tragic arc with complexity and nuance comparable to its depiction of the Dark Lord himself. Theo's character is being impeccably crafted for the future betrayal of Isildur, as well as an eventual redemption through Aragorn.